I've decided to be someone who chooses to help others in my life. I love the story. I want to remind you of it regularly. The kid that's on the shore, and the tide is going out, and that kid, there's thousands of starfish on the shore. And if you remember the story, the kid is picking up a starfish, and he's hucking it back in the water where it might live. And he's picking up another one and throwing it in the water. Thousands of starfish. And a man walks by and sees this, and he walks down to the young man, and he says, "Son, look at what's on the shore. I mean, what you're trying to do is futile. You can't possibly make a difference." And with respect, the kid picks up a starfish, throws it out into the ocean, and looks at the man and said, "I made a difference for that one." Isn't there power in making a difference in just one life? I wonder sometimes if you're like me, where we get overwhelmed with all the needs and all the people that need help, and sometimes just like, God, I just want to freeze up. And God's just saying to you, how about you make a difference for that one? And you just pick somebody and make a big difference in their life. There's power in that. I shared that story a couple of years ago, and some friends were in service for the very first time. And so I'm going to invite Daniel and Courtney Woodruff if they would come up and join me. Would you welcome them as they come? Come on, can we do that? They are going to share some of their story, but they're going to be available after the service today in the lobby. So that's kind of why we're doing this live thing. So Courtney, thank you for sharing. Daniel, thank you for being here. You've already done a My Story. And you guys have both done one before. So you guys are just great. You know, can we schedule one for next month too?
Yeah. Tons of my story.
So tell us a little bit of your story, Courtney.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. When I was born, I didn't have a home. I was relinquished at birth at the hospital, and a foster family came and picked me up, and my adoptive parents adopted me a short time later. But my adopted family really made sure that I had the best life possible. They provided a stable home. I was raised in a supportive community and in church. And that has just always been a part of my story. And I wanted to do something like they did for me. I ended up getting to go to college, and that's where I met my husband, Dan.
That's me.
And
yeah, so when I met Courtney, and we started dating, and our relationship started getting really serious. You know, it was one of the things that I learned about her in the very beginning. And, you know, at the time, I don't think I knew anybody that was adopted. And it's possible that I did. It's not something you talk about regularly, I guess. But anyway, so as our relationship started to bloom and we were getting very serious, it was always something that we kind of intended to do one day, was to adopt, was to kind of continue on this thing that really brought Courtney to me, right, and made Courtney such a wonderful human being, and we could do that too, right? And so, you know, there was a lot of obstacles to doing that. There was a lot of things that made us say, you know what, now's not a good time. You know, there's a lot of things that we create on our own. It was like, oh, that sounds really hard. I don't want to do that. But then there were other things that was realistically, it was really challenging. I joined the military, for example. We traveled around the world, and you know, in 10 years of active duty Army service, we had how many? 14 or 15 address changes, right? So it's not really a conducive environment to be adopting a child, or at least we thought, right?
Two boys of our own.
We got two boys of our own, and so it got to the point where, you know, I got out of the Army. We bought a house. And we started to get this stable life, right? And so it's kind of more or less when we started talking about it, when we moved here to Lacey, and you know, we started shopping around for a church, and as Pastor Peter said, we came to True Grace at some point, and we were sitting about right there with that young lady sitting right there, and you know, we heard this starfish story, and it was just like, you know, God was just like putting a road sign in our path, you know, saying, here's your destination. That's almost how clear it was. There may as well have been nobody else in this church that day except myself, Courtney, and Pastor Peter, and the Lord. And it was just, it was our service. You You know, and just a few days before that, our son Logan, why don't you tell that part of the story? That's a good part.
Yeah,
You tell it
foster
best.
care and adoption was already kind of on our hearts because my son, who was going into kindergarten, grew out of a pair of shoes that he had, and he brought them to me and said, "Mom, please don't give them away. Please save these and give them to the next baby that you have." And another baby hadn't been on my radar at that point because we just moved from Germany to Lacey. And then that Sunday we came to church here, and we were challenged by Pastor Peter and his story. And we took the next step, and we went to an event that he challenged us to attend, which was called Foster Aware. And we got licensed. And about 4 months later, we picked up a newborn baby from the hospital. And adoption is not always the first goal of foster care, but in this case, reunification wasn't possible, and so we adopted him in August, so 2.5 years later. That's him right now. And Logan is the one with the tie. He's a character.
Yeah, so the little guy that I'm holding, I'm the one with the beard, by the way. You know, that's our little starfish, and you know, it matters. It mattered to him. It mattered to us. Maybe we were the starfish. I don't know. Yeah. So really, what we want to do, Courtney and I, is you know, if you feel like you've had these things on your heart, if you've been grappling with this idea, you know, maybe that's something I can do. I've got a beautiful home, or even a lousy home. It doesn't matter, right?
You don't have to have it all together.
A child just wants hugs, kisses, and goldfish crackers, right? And if that's something that you think you can provide, there is a huge, I mean, an enormous need right now. How many children today?
There are 1,087 children that are legally free in Washington State waiting for a home. They're in foster care and don't have a family. So maybe you could be the reason why there's 1,086.
Yeah. So thank you for allowing us to share our story. We're going to be out there in the lobby after this is over. Come ask us all your questions. Any obstacles that you feel are in your way, I can tell you we had those as well. Everybody has obstacles, but they are overcome. And these children, I'm telling you, they just want goldfish crackers, okay? Goldfish crackers and kisses, right? And if that's something you can do, those obstacles just tend to find themselves out of your way, all right? So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Can we give them a big hand? Awesome.